Shifting our focus now to the top story that we are looking at in this bulletin. Are you a home buyer? Did you invest in your dream house, but your money is now stuck? Are you like one of those hundreds of buyers who were locked in a decade-long legal battle, just like we have seen the home buyers battling it out with the Supertech builders? Then this is what you need to know. On Wednesday, in fact, the Supreme Court gave an ultimatum to Supertech almost 5 months after it had ordered demolition of the Twin Towers in Noida and a refund to homebuyers in 2 months. After continued delay, the court has said that there is a deadline now for the buyers to pay back the home buyers, and that is by Monday, or else they go to jail. This order serves as a silver lining not only to buyers in this case, but to all home buyers whose money is stuck. So what next for the buyers in the Supertech case? And what exactly could be the process? Are there any other, surprises in store for the home buyers, especially with regard to the Supertech case, or other home buyers who have, in fact, found themselves in similar situation where their dream house project is also stuck and their money is also stuck at the same time because of these projects? So this is, of course, a focus that we are looking at in this particular show as to what are some of the rights that you need to know in terms of what can be done to, as a home buyer. How can you protect yourself in terms of any such situation where your project is stuck because the builder has not complied with certain rules and laws, the matters in court, and despite court directions and despite court orders, actually, people are not getting the refund on time. Just to take our viewers through the case so far, the Supreme Court had in fact ordered demolition of the Twin Towers and had slammed illegal construction of the towers. Remember, Supertech had in fact flouted certain rules while these two towers had been constructed in Noida. In fact, back in 2021, Supreme Court had said that there was an unholy nexus between builders and Noida authorities. The Supreme Court had also ordered Supertech to pay back buyers at that time. In fact, buyers were to be refunded with interest at 12% per annum. But the home buyers are now saying that Supertech says they'll be paid back in installments and that deductions have in fact been made, and the deductions were in fact not ordered by court. On the show, I'm joined by town planner and architect, Mr. Chandrachud Prabhu. Mr. Prabhu, thank you so much for joining us here on this show. And our attempt is to actually educate the people out there, home buyers or potential home buyers, on how they can actually protect themselves. First of all, if you could just highlight what are certain things that people need to look out for when they are looking at a particular project to buy a flat there. What exactly are some of the main legal pointers that they need to keep in mind when they are looking at buying a new apartment?
They really need to check the title of the land, and they have to check whether the plans have been approved or not, and whether an occupation certificate has been given or not. Unless all these papers are in place, there is no question of even thinking of buying any property.
Right, exactly. And these are, of course, sometimes basics that people might actually be tripping upon because, there are certain circumstances in place for which they might not have actually done the proper thorough checking which is needed through their lawyers. But why do you think there are these instances which take place, where projects are stuck for years, home buyers' money is stuck for years, and despite court orders, we've not really got a situation where the home buyers are even getting their money back despite court actually ordering for it to happen like that? I mean, this is brazen behavior by the builders, but in terms of practicality, how can people protect themselves?
No, people cannot protect themselves unless you buy from someone who is branded and who will at least complete the project. You see, fly-by-night operators are there, and they tend to tempt the buyers by giving a good price, and most of the time the buyers get tempted by this price factor. So if someone gives you at a cheaper price, you don't really bother. You think that you've got a good deal and don't really worry about doing all the necessary checks before investing your money. This happens all over the country, and it is the buyer who himself is to blame because he doesn't do the due diligence. Due diligence is very important. When you are buying a flat and paying crores of rupees or lakhs of rupees for that, you could always spend a few thousand rupees on hiring the services of a lawyer to get a clean chit and to do all the checkups about the building.
Right. I mean, that of course goes without saying that a due diligence process has to be done when there's such a big financial transaction involved. Mr. Prabhu, also, do you think that in terms of a checklist of measures that people should keep in mind, besides doing due diligence through their lawyers, what are some of the checklists that people should keep in mind, especially as lessons having been learned from the Supertech case?
No. Whether the company is financially sound, that is number one. Second is whether all the permissions have been properly given. And third is, just in case for any reason, if the company is not in a position to give the possession, then at least is the money that you have paid, is that secure and safe? These are the three things that you must check. And unless you have a guarantee that your money is safe, you should not invest in such ventures.
Right. But what we have in fact seen, Mr. Prabhu, is that several times around people still get fooled or get embroiled in such cases. There have in fact been several such fraud cases and cheating cases which have also come to notice. In fact, this particular project is of course a high-profile project in Noida, which has been in the in the spotlight for, of course, several wrong reasons as well for many years now. Especially when it comes to big builders like Supertech, Mr. Prabhu, do you think that there are concerns? Because, when this kind of precedent is set, that despite a Supreme Court order going out saying that buyers should in fact be refunded with interest, but that has not happened. The Supreme Court has, of course, given them an ultimatum now. But the point being that these builders and big builders like Supertech are also not following the rules or even honoring the Supreme Court order on time. And that is also something which makes homebuyers jittery.
No, you see, it is the laws which are not in place. I mean, what stops the government from acquiring all the land from Supertech and with the help of the buyers whose money has been stuck, the government could get some contractor to do the remaining work and give the flats to the people. You see, government doesn't want to act against the developer. That is the real thing. Why should the Supreme Court, why should finally the High Court and the Supreme Court come to the rescue of those who have cheated? Why can't the government take it as its responsibility to ensure that no one gets cheated? And if they find that people get cheated, then the government should acquire the land of such developers and tell them nothing doing. This land now belongs to those who have paid the money to you. But such acquisitions are not done, such actions are not taken. It's because, the builders give the politicians their much needed election funds. And so when the time comes, the politician doesn't want to act against the builder.
That's right. There might be other aspects also involved, as you said, that, the builder-politician nexus. In fact, Supreme Court had also, in fact, commented, if I can just quote that particular comment which had come in from Supreme Court last year, where the top court had, in fact, said that there's an unholy nexus between builders and Noida authorities, which clearly seems to have got into play in this particular case. Sir, please stay with us. I'm also joined on the phone line by Mr. Shrikant Sharma, Vice President of Emerald Court, RWA in Noida. Mr. Sharma, thank you so much for joining us here on Mirror Now. But what we are looking at is concerns and of the home buyers or potential home buyers as well, but also what exactly are the lessons that we can learn from the Supertech case? And as a home buyer or as a potential home buyer, what are the things that we can keep in mind basis the way this case has in fact played out over the years? What exactly as a home buyer makes you concerned basis what has happened with the Supertech case?
Okay. As a home buyer, when we went in to buy the flat, it was about 12 years before. They made all good promises, but the later on, whatever was shown to us was not strictly followed, because then they got the plans changed. The place where I'm living it is having 15 towers, G plus 11. But subsequently the plans got changed. Say first in 2006 a plan was made, then in 2009 it was changed to G plus 24, these twin towers, Apex and Sine A. Then in 2012 it was made G plus 40. Now the point was they were flouting the regulations of the government while getting these plans sanctioned, and it was definitely in the knowledge of Noida authority while sanctioning the plans that they were not in order. They flouted the distance regulation between the two buildings. There were regulation in 2009 when they got the first plan sanctioned. Regulations 2006 were applicable. When they got a sanction in 2010, regulation 2010 were regular, knowing very well that they are flouting the regulation. Noida authority approved those plans, and we are the victims now. We, those who are already living in these areas and those who booked the flats, both became victims. It was a negligence or willful omission by the Noida authority. Otherwise, this would not have happened.
Right, Mr. Sharma, I also have Mr. Chandrachud Prabhu, a town planner and architect, with me on the show. Is there any question that you would want to ask in terms of, as a home buyer, how exactly can you keep yourself, or other potential home buyers that you know, yourself legally sound when it comes to looking at projects? Any particular question that you have for our expert here?
Okay, no, there is no specific questions. As a home buyer, you try to get into the things. Okay, you will ask, what am I getting? What are my surroundings? And when later on, out of the greed or whatever, the builder tries to flout the laws and make buildings which are not as per the law, then nobody can do anything.
Right. Also, Mr. Shrikant Sharma, I mean, one of the concerns, of course, is that it is a big builder in this particular case, Supertech. Do you think that also gives them that, that elbow room to actually wrestle through such cases as well? I mean, what has happened in Supreme Court is, of course, in the domain of the court. But prior to that, when home buyers were actually struggling with getting their rights or getting their, possession of their flats, or the fact that it was not going to happen or not on time, at least to begin with, do you think that big builders are actually having a greater elbow room? And as Mr. Chandrasekhar was also pointing out, and the Supreme Court has earlier, that there is this very underlying nexus of politicians and big builders also coming into play, which kind of emboldens them even further.
I don't know who all is involved in this, but definitely builder has flouted it. Builder has definitely flouted it, and we become at the mercy of the builder. How do you know the builder will think something different a few years after you have bought the flat? And definitely without the connivance with the local authorities, those who are approving authorities, it just cannot be done.
Right. I think Mr. Chandrasekhar Prabhu wants to come in with a comment. Sir, please go ahead.
No. See, the laws have to be in place that if, like the gentleman who has just been talking, if he has booked a flat and then the plans have changed without the permission of those to whom you have given the flats or booked the flats, taken the money, without their permission, no plans can be changed unless their permission is submitted to the Noida authorities. Noida can't approve the new changed plan. If a law is there in that regard, then Noida authority cannot approve. There is no law. That is what I am trying to tell. That once a plan is shown to a particular person, and if the builder has to change that plan, he can't just go to an authority. He should take permission from the person to whom he has sold the flat earlier with the old plan, saying that this is the plan I have shown you and now I want to change it. Will you give me permission? And unless he gives permission, he is not entitled to submit the plan to Noida or whichever the authority is. That should be the law. Such a law, if it is there, then the builder can be kept under leash. If such law is not there, then the politician, builder, and bureaucracy nexus,
Right.
sometimes with the help of the underworld, will continue to keep on cheating the people.
So one of the last questions I wanted to ask, first I'll ask this of Chandrasekhar Prabhu. In fact, let me actually take that question first to Shrikant Sharma. Shrikant Sharma, do you think these
Living is required.
Right. Mr. Sharma, do you think these consumer forums that also we see, which, are there for home buyers or, people who might be facing these kind of issues, are these consumer forums of any help? Do you think that has helped? In this particular case, of course, it might not, and the matters landed up in court. But what has been your experience, if at all, that you've heard of people in this particular case who approached consumer forums for any sort of aid?
Consumer forums, yeah, sometimes people get relief. Yeah, they do get, but it takes long time everywhere. That is the whole problem. The sufferer is ultimately the buyer, the common man.
Mm-hmm.
That is the issue. We have taken up with on some different context. We have already taken up in the NCDRC some issue wherein the builder had taken a lot of money from us. For example, IFMS they have taken from us. Now to take care of the shortcomings in the earlier construction of those existing 15 towers, they spent some money. Later on, they claimed we have used your IFMS money, worth crores of rupees in doing it. And when we asked for IFMS, when we took over the maintenance 3 years before, they said, no, we have already spent your IFMS. How can they do that? It was their shortcoming, and they use our money. Now we have filed a case in NCDRC. I don't know how much time will it take.
Right. Mr. Shrikant Sharma, Emerald Court RWA member over there. Any last words of advice, Mr. Chandrasekhar Prabhu, before we, wrap up this show? What exactly would you say? I mean, you heard it from a consumer, from a home buyer himself. These are the kind of issues, and literally, people feel really helpless. So much at stake over here. Their dream house, their money involved, of course, emotions and finance attached. What would your advice be?
So this is not one stray case. I write columns for newspapers and I get at least 50 to 100 questions every week, from which in the newspaper I can publish 1 or 2 questions, but the rest go unanswered. And all these questions point out at the builder's cheating. It is not as if government doesn't know that the builder is cheating. However, the concept of supporting the builder, giving him all the benefits, giving him all the permissions, the taxpayers' hard-earned money is kept in the banks. The taxpayer, for keeping the money, gets lesser money as interest in fixed deposit. However, his money, do you know that 6,56,000 crores have been given to builders by nationalized banks? When an ordinary man goes to get loans,
Right.
he's denied, but the builders get the taxpayers' money and the banks are fleeced. It's because the officers of the bank, the officialdom, the politician, the bureaucrat, and a section of the underworld put together along with builders, there is this unholy nexus, and that nexus claims to run the state and the government at the center. So these are the people. Ask the urban development
Right.
minister, what has he done in this? He has done nothing. He only wants to support the builders. Ask the state urban development minister what laws has he brought to protect the
Right.
buyers who have cheated. They've done nothing
Right.
because they need from these people during the elections and
Right.
otherwise. And it's a corrupt system, and the corruption starts with the builder and ends with the builder,
And we have
and
probably
everybody are beneficiaries.
Yes, and we have probably touched the tip of the iceberg only with the Supertech case. But Mr. Chandrasekhar Prabhu, town planner and architect, and Shrikant Sharma, Vice President of the Emerald Court, RWA Noida, thank you so much for joining us on this show.